Your gradient descent, as I told you, when you're working with the non-linear separable data and the three-dimensional, the weights, basically the application of the weights is going to be in the opposite direction of the gradient descent. This we already know. That's why we add a minus sign to our delta Wi with respect to working with gradient descents for a non-linear separable data. So now we know each training example is a pair of the form X and the target. Like I have the input instances. This is what we already have encountered also. We have the X input instances and associated target with that because it's a supervised learning that we are classifying here. So where X is the vector of the input values and T is the target value, target or the output value of it. Okay, the target output value, and theta is the learning rate, or N is the learning rate over here. What we do initially, we initialize each Wi to some small random value. We had done that -2, 1, -6.5. We had given those values, right? They are the small random values that we had taken. So initially initialize each Wi to some random values until the termination condition is met. So until the final output is what you do initialize each delta Wi to 0. Okay, I start with initially 0 delta Wi, but here initially we calculated that value taking the output minus of input. We applied that, we calculated the new delta Wi, right? The change in the vector, initiate it to 0 initially and then go ahead. How do we perform that? So for each instance X and T, we had the data point X value and the corresponding target value of that which was given to us in the training examples. I take the input instances, the vector X to the unit and complete the output. So what did I do over here? I had the X value of it. I had the W value of it. I calculated the output value of it. So I got the output value. And again, I had the target value that was being given to me, which is the T value of that particular value. If I find any difference between them, so for each linear unit weight Wi, what do I do if I get a change between that? I perform delta Wi is equal to delta Wi. That is, this is the new value. This is the old value plus the learning rate into T minus of O, which is nothing but D minus of O into X. The same thing I've performed in the example. So I'll be updating each and every time these weights. This is my gradient descent. Okay. And what I do for each linear unit vector Wi, suppose there is nothing like a direct way of doing it. I perform this Wi is equal to Wi. If I get the same, when I'm updating it, is basically Wi, which is Wi plus delta I. This value delta Wi is what I'll be using because that's the change in the vector that I get. The change in the vector, I'm adding it to the old value. So I get a new matrix here. When I perform this, I got individual vectors for each neuron. So I got first neuron, I got for second neuron, I got for third neuron. So I saw that there is a change in the way that is only with respect to the second neuron. So what I do, or whatever all three are, I update that with this. So I will get the new table value of it, the new weight vector. And this new weight vector is what I will be applying for the next upcoming data point. So I'll perform all of these operations continuously to make sure that my classification or it converges to the correct classification problem. So this is what your gradient descent algorithm is. We have similarly seen the same operation with respect to a practical example that we had. The same thing and the same steps is what we perform in our algorithm as well. Now, even if you don't know this algorithm, the definition of it, when you just imagine yourself, what are the operations that you perform, everything should come into your mind. I initially take the normal weights of it. I initialize to some random values and I consider I already have the X and T value which has been given to it. I calculate the O and D value and delta Wi is value, the what that I really want, the old value plus N into target minus of output into X, which gives me my new value. That new value, I'll be updating it to my weights, and further for each and every point, I perform the same operation until the termination condition is met. I hope I've made this clear. Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
a lot of operations with respect to the weights. Okay, how can you really optimize these weights such that, okay, you're optimizing the gradient descents? One among them is a stochastic gradient descent. I already told you, when you consider each and every input instances and then you perform a weight updation to it, that forms your stochastic. But see, there are advantages as well as disadvantages with stochastic gradient descent. See, advantages with stochastic gradient descent, it will get to know each and every training examples, how it is, it will perform according to that. But whereas there are certain times where the value overshoots or undershoots the weight values. Okay, sometimes as I told you, suppose I get target value as 50 lakh and 30 lakh, you try to increase your weights to match to it. Sometimes immediately with one suppose instance that I got, it shooted out to 80 lakhs. And again, the next immediate instance, I again got it for 30 lakhs. So the weight changes. There will be a lot of oscillations that you'll be observed to reach to the local minima that you want. So something when it performs like this, there is certain undershoots and uppershoots, like overshoot and undershoot that happens with respect to the weight updates. So stochastic gradient descent, rather than that, they use batch gradient descent. So you take certain instances, 10 instances as one batch, you update it accordingly. So you neither too overshoot it or too undershoot it at any instance of time. So there are a lot of optimization techniques that is available with respect to gradient descents. One among that is what stochastic gradient descent, batch. You again have Adam optimizer. So there are certain optimizers also associated with it. Okay. So difference between the standard gradient descent, whatever we have discussed now is a standard gradient descent, but the example that we discussed, okay, for each and every data point, that is actually the stochastic gradient descent. So with respect to standard and stochastic, what is the difference that is observed? In gradient descent, that's the standard gradient descent, I've just written as GD, okay. In the standard gradient descent, the error is summed over all the examples before updating the weights. Okay, it performs on all the examples, and finally at the last it will update its weights. At the last it will perform an operation. Whereas gradient descent, the weights are updated upon examining each training example. We have seen that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, each and every example we took, we applied the value of it. So that forms your weights updates for each and every training example. Okay. Summing over multiple examples in gradient descent requires more computation per weight update. Okay, which means that this summing operation that I perform, right, for multiple, because here I'm going to sum out all the examples. So when I'm performing this, there are multiple examples in the gradient descent that requires more computation per weight update. The summing itself, I have to do W1 into X1, W2 into X2, W3 into X3, so on. I have 1,000 samples, Wn into X. That summation operation itself is again a huge computation. So it uses a larger step size per weight update, which is the learning rate over here. Actually, you'll be taking more. So every time you can't be performing so many operations. So I will tell, rather than using 0.001 as my learning rate or 0.004 as my learning rate, I will take something like 0.4, 0.1. I will reduce it. So I'll have a larger step size here. My learning rate will be actually in the larger forms. Rather than, you can have a difference, 0.001. Basically, sometimes we use for the learning rate. I'm going to use a step size of only 0.01 or 0.1. So there's a difference in that learning rate over here. So normally with the gradient descents, there are huge step sizes for weight updates given comparatively to SGM. The standard, the stochastic gradient descent. Okay. If there are multiple local minimas, okay, we already know if there are multiple local minimas, you have to converge to the solution because you have multiple categories over here. So you have to converge to that particular solution. Okay. If that is the case, stochastic gradient descent sometimes avoids falling into those local minima because it uses various the weight updates, okay, than only one single weight update to guide its search. It is using all of these weight updates. E of D is complete with respect to its samples, or E with respect to W, it is only with one particular sample. Okay. As I told you, when it uses for each and every weight update, what it will do, sometimes it will overshoot, sometimes it will undershoot, again overshoot, undershoot. It will not reach to its local minima easily. You will have these variations or oscillations happening all the times because it will keep on changing for all the weight updates rather than for single weight update. It will do all for all the weight update because every instance it will perform a weight update. So there is one of the drawback that has been observed with respect to stochastic gradient descent. It will not exactly reach to the local minima very fast, or if there are multiple local minimas, it cannot converge to the solution that fast. It will take in baby steps like overshoot, undershoot. There will be oscillations that has been observed with respect to this. Okay, so this is again one of the important point with respect to stochastic gradient descent, which I've touched upon. The next class we'll go ahead with the multi-layer networks and backpropagation algorithm. Okay, so this is very important, one of the very important topic in your fourth module, the multi-layer neural networks and the backpropagation. So I'll stop for the day and I will continue the class